Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inferno Cast, episode number 41. I am, of course, Inferno Fox, host of this podcast here on YouTube's Inferno Fox Gaming, as well as on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. We have a truly special episode tonight for May the 4th be with you. That is the week of Star Wars, and in celebration, we are talking about all things Star Wars with video games and maybe a little bit up and above. Joining me tonight, we have a special guest, the YouTube content creator and the YouTube channel of Rad Bash Gaming, and one of the founding members for the Super Retro Force. This is a group of excellent, fantastic YouTube content creators, and I can't recommend their video game content enough. Links for Rad Bash, Super Retro Force, and all of the Super Retro Force members will be in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Rad, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm super excited. Big fan, big fan.
Absolutely. And we also have Simbu Darkfang. He is the host of the SFWF, that's Scurry Face Wrestling Federation show. He is the host for both Sunday and Wednesday nights on Twitch. And he's also an actor for Basement of the Dead, located in Aurora, Illinois. That's part of Chicagoland. Simbu, thank you for joining us as well.
Well, it's always great to be here on the Inferno cast.
And always great to have you. You had a really great show on Sunday. I did manage to catch a great chunk of it. Definitely recommend checking out, again, that Scurry Face Wrestling Federation show Sundays and Wednesday evenings, 7 p.m. Central Time on Twitch. It's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. Simbu really has a lot of enthusiasm and excellent wrestling knowledge, so that a lot of the moves that you're seeing within WWE 2024, he does an excellent job of cataloging them, categorizing them, describing them, so that even the witless like myself, who doesn't know a lick about wrestling, gets educated. So thank you for that. We also have joining us tonight Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel, Jason the 13th. Thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Not a problem at all. Happy to be here.
And happy to have you. We also have Jamie Owls, my partner and partner in crime. Jamie Owls, thank you for joining.
Howdy.
And last but not least, we have Stormrosesky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And absolutely a pleasure to have you here with us. And let's go ahead and jump. We're going to jump right in, right here with the Star Wars content. No pre-discussion topic. Let's jump right in. And in full celebration of Star Wars Day, we're going to be discussing everything to do with the video games, or at least the Star Wars games that are most notable to us here, and more really. A brief history lesson for these games. The creative mastermind behind the series, George Lucas, licensed the rights to the Star Wars series to other development companies between the years of like 1979 through 1993, and the likes of Atari, Namco, and more. And sometimes titles had been published under the Lucasfilm Games namesake on it, but you had like Atari and them actually make the games. But it wasn't until Lucas himself got interested in video game development that he created LucasArts, which not only allowed more creative control, but also really captured the feeling of the series really greater to the players. When Walt Disney, of course, the Disney Corporation purchased LucasArts and Lucasfilm in 2012, they closed LucasArts shortly thereafter and decided all games created up to that point under that label no longer canon. Anything that was a video game that was its own unique story before 2012 wasn't any part of the Star Wars lore anymore. They also canceled development of a known Star Wars game called Star Wars 1313. an action-based game that was supposed to be based around a young Boba Fett, and gave the rights to develop video games to one of the best, fairest, and most morally held companies, Electronic Arts, or EA. They're the best. That's why 2 years in a row they were known as the greatest company in. Oh no, I'm sorry, I have that backwards. The worst company in America, 2012 and 2013, and Disney gave the rights to that. Fortunately, well, I will say, see, friends, yet another friendly reminder that corporations are not your friends. But fortunately, I will say that the good news is they have branched out since then. Disney has allowed other companies to develop the games. I want to say as I think since like 2019 or 2020. So it's not such a like a EA. I was going to say sausage fest, but that's not right.
I've had a Force vision, everybody, a vision from the Force, and a DNC is showing up, is being currently emailed to Inferno Fox Gaming.
Hey, that is a-okay. If we get that Democratic National Convention email to me, then that's a thing where, hey, I've made it. I've made it in real time that I'm getting
somebody
the big,
important is watching.
getting the big boys coming. So I'm gonna kind of sort of start with that clock rewound, and we're gonna start kind of from the bottom up, the early video games. And don't worry, I'm not talking anything like ET or anything like that. Sorry, Simbu. I know you love ET.
Storm is furious with you right now.
Well, Storm loves Pitfall. I thought it was you that liked ET.
Mhm.
No.
You see how he tries to pass the buck all the time.
He'd be a great.
I'm not passing the buck. I'm going to pass the bunny.
You would be a great Force ghost because you're so good at projection. But
There,
one of the interesting things with the early games, like episodes 4 through 6, that trilogy that were released on the NES, of course, the Super Nintendo counterparts, I feel like were renowned for being some of the best action platforming, yet difficult, very difficult, extremely difficult for the console, the Super Nintendo. What was cool with the Super Nintendo ones is not only did you have the action platforming part where you're like Luke and you had the lightsaber and jumping around and everything. If I remember right, there were portions where you could control Luke's Starfighter and the Millennium Falcon. Now I know Storm, you had mentioned earlier you had not played like really any of the Star Wars games. Jamie Owls, I think you had said the same thing. Did you play any of the Super Nintendo Star Wars games, or saw your brother play them?
The only one that I can fully recall, and I've played it as well, is the Nintendo 64 Shadow of the Empire.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had to Google that.
Yeah,
That's the only one I played.
hang on to that thought because we're gonna be talking about the 64 games.
Okay.
Jason the 13th. Did you play the Super Nintendo ones?
Only the Super Star Wars. I have only played a handful of Star Wars games overall. So.
And Simbu, I remember you had mentioned either offline or earlier last week that you hadn't played a lot of the NES, SNES earlier.
No, yeah. Growing up, my first system was a Sega Genesis. So
Okay.
I kind of missed out on all the early Star Wars games.
But Rad, you've played the Super Nintendo ones.
Yes, I have.
What are your thoughts on them?
You know, that's really one of my favorite like systems in general is the Super Nintendo. So platformers, of course, are awesome. Like you mentioned, they're extremely hard, which, I mean, you think about it, most games back then were. That's how they, get you to buy games. Then it was, you're going to have to keep playing and playing and, things like that. But no, I enjoyed them. I thought they were really good. But again, the difficulty was hard. I played one on the NES as well. And it was like you turn in like Darth Vader turns into a scorpion. It was like it was really weird. It didn't make any sense because I don't remember a part in the movie where Darth Vader just throws his armor off and he's a scorpion underneath. But hey, maybe I missed that scene. But no,
Star
I
Wars
think
X Mortal Kombat.
yeah. See, there you go.
Animality.
Yeah, see, no, but yeah, I mean they were good. Do I think they're the best, on the platform? No, but they were enjoyable for what they were. For what we had at the time, that was, good.
Nice. Yeah, and I think they're actually available for the PlayStation 4 via the PlayStation Network.
One of them is. It's the first one.
The Super Star Wars.
Yes, just it's the New Hope storyline game.
That's weird. You would think that they would put Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, they never know what to do with Star Wars. my poor franchise.
So Jamie Ellis had mentioned the Nintendo 64, kind of moving into that.
Mhm.
I feel like when it comes to the 64 and the GameCube, the most known series, I know you said Shadow of the Empire, but from my experience, I've heard like the Rogue Squadron games are like some of the most renowned with the 64 and GameCube. The first of Rogue Squadron released back in 98, the sequels on the GameCube back in 01 and 03, respectively. And they were action shooters, often putting the players into the cockpit of various ships as they went on missions to destroy certain objectives, rescue others, and more. I've seen the first two of these, Rogue Squadrons 1 and 2, land on a number of top 25 lists for various magazines, online websites, and individuals lists and everything like that. Red, I'm going to bug you and ask if you've played if you've played the Rogue Squadron games, and two, if you think that they give Star Fox, like Star Fox 64, a run for its money with the shooter action.
Oh, hands down. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the best flight sim. Oof. It started my love for like the Ace Combat and stuff like that. That was because of those games. Like they are phenomenal. Even when you have to get out and kind of run around, which is in the GameCube ones, it was a little clunky, but some of the best games. So much fun.
And it was fun. I played the Rogue Squadron on the 64 for the first time on my Steam Deck last year, and I found myself playing it for like over an hour because I'm like, you would think the 64. I still feel like that the fifth generation has aged the poorest,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
it felt so good to play on the Steam Deck and just how well it looked, and it managed to avoid the Silent Hill-ish fog, at least as it was so much better than Star Fox 64 did. Like, I'm like, why is this so good? And why have I like slept so hard on this game? Like, it is definitely so good.
Oh yeah.
Man. Simbu, did you get into any of the GameCube or 64 Star Wars games?
The only Star Wars would have been Shadows of the Empire.
And what did you think of that one?
It was great for its time. An interesting Doom clone, so to
Ooh.
speak. Or am I confusing Dark Forces?
Dark Forces. I think you're thinking Dark Forces, the
Rad.
first person shooter one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Dark Forces. Yeah, you said Doom clone. I was like,
Yeah.
hold
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
Also,
I
a good
heard
game,
Dune,
though. Also a
D-U-N-E.
good
I'm
clone.
sorry.
Yeah. Dark Forces is a fantastic game. Well, and I guess in my old age here, I'm slipping on Shadows of the Empire, but I do remember, playing Rogue Squadron. Wasn't a big fan of the Ace aerial combats. Still really not to this day. So, never really got into like Star Fox or, airstrikes or anything like that. Ace Combat. But I do remember having Shadows of the Empire, and that being the first actual Star Wars game that I did play and would actually
Me
be able to
too.
sit down and play.
Yes, Jamie Owls, what are your thoughts on Shadows of the Empire?
It's been a very, very long time since I played it, and I had to Google to see the images again. But that one I played a lot, and my brother, he beat the game, and so he was able to collect all those like specials, and so whenever I played, like I got the easy levels. No, I had a lot of fun with it, and I didn't play a whole lot of Star Wars games, so Shadow of the Empire is the only one I really played and had a lot of great memories of it. He's a big Star Wars fan, so yeah, he had quite a few Star Wars games, but the Shadow of the Empire is the only one I played.
I was making a note while you were talking to make sure to find that game for you so that you could play it whenever you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember like enjoying the water levels for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, but you like water levels in games. Like I remember with like Mario 64,
Yeah, yeah. I
Dire
don't know.
Dire Docks.
Yeah, and with Shadow of the Empire, I played it seriously, but then, what, 10, 11, I just kind of played around on it, not really taking it seriously. So,
Now I got one question with the you love water levels. Does that include all water levels, even the water level that shall not be named
Even though you're
so
a
saying
certain
half of the
Nintendo
name.
game?
That's like saying Volda when you're not supposed to say he who shall not be named. Volda. Oh, that's too funny. So I'm going to move us into, we're getting into a forward progression here, and I'm going to mention a game, and this is where Simbu's really going to start lighting up here. And he's cracking his knuckles. He's getting ready because he knows that it's time to talk about KOTOR, or Knights of the Old Republic. Published by LucasArts, but developed by BioWare, originally released for the Xbox in 2003. This was a super impressive role-playing game for the time. It allowed the player to create their own avatar of their liking, up to and including the ability to become a Jedi or go to the dark side. So, Simbu, I have to ask the question because I'm asking everybody, have you played Knights of the Old Republic before? And if you have, what are your thoughts about the will they, won't they status of the remake?
Nope, I've never played KOTOR. Never
All right,
heard of
well,
it until you mentioned it just now.
well, shoot.
Absolutely never heard of that game before. What is it? Some like indie game from like Bulgaria or something? Because
Bulgaria.
That's Slovenia. Slovenia.
um, it was actually KOTOR was probably the first game that got me into actual RPG style games. It doesn't take that traditional sort of turn base like you see with like the JRPGs and stuff like that. It's kind of more like an American, like it was what Final Fantasy turn based became before anybody really ever thought of it. Just a fantastic game like that. You could be Jedi, you could be the Gray, you could be a Sith, you could be a bounty hunter, a scoundrel. I mean, you had so many class options. And of course, the game kind of changed here and there throughout while you play, depending on what you played. Certain missions would only be available to a Jedi or a Force sensitive. Certain, side quest missions would only be available to a smuggler or a scoundrel. Certain missions would only be available to a bounty hunter. So the game sort of changed a bit depending on what class your main character was. Now you had your supporting characters, obviously, as every RPG does. But the story was centered and focused predominantly around you. So your choices, again, just like most RPGs as they are, your choices, your character, and everything like that. KOTOR the remake, my heart breaks because as of right now, it is stuck in development hell like Dead Island 2 was. But there is a light. There is a light at the end of this tunnel because even though it took 11 plus years for Dead Island 2 to release, we finally got it. Now, Saber Interactive has broken off from Embracer Group. That is a big push in the possible actual happening of this remake. Because Embracer Group wasn't wanting to do it. They weren't going to fund it. So now that Saber Interactive has parted ways, their owner, CEO, whatever you want to call him, is like, we're still thinking about it, because there still is if you read an art, there was an article that stated what's all still Embracer Group and what is strictly Saber Interactive. And there is a titled Star Wars thing, and then there's an untitled Star Wars thing on that list. So the untitled is very possible to be the KOTOR remake. Again, currently just kind of in development hell. And they've got to get Embracer Group to, because Embracer Group owns parts of the rights and licensing to KOTOR. They have to get Embracer Group to say, fine, let's just do it. This is what they want. I mean, everybody, a lot of us want it. And it'd be a great way to introduce, it's a great RPG to introduce new people into, again, the RPG genre, because it's not just, click button and, oh, I throw a little, fire potion at you. Like it's highly detailed for its time. So it just a huge upscaling and, polygon upsetting and stuff like that. I mean, I could only imagine what that game would look like now, running on, 30 FPS at 4K.
Yeah, and it's interesting too with the latest news where Embracer Group is now going to be split into 3 separate companies in of itself, where one of them is Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends, and then another is going to be like Coffee something and Friends, and then there's another one that's just going to focus. Oh, Coffee Stain and Friends. I'm looking it up here. And then there's a third one that's going to be something else, where Middle Earth and Friends is like their AAA, Coffee Stain is their AA and indie, and this is all after their divestiture of Saber, which is good because the less power to the Star Wars production, exactly like you said, means that if Saber owns the production, they can continue it and really take the ball and run with it. It's probably in a better place now that
Right.
Embracer is not going to have the keys to the car, as it were.
Well, not exactly, because as I said, and I'll restate it for anybody who may not have heard or misinterpreted what it was. But Embracer Group still holds share in KOTOR, so Saber Interactive can run it, but without Embracer Group giving them the okay to publish and publish the game, that game will not happen. So, a lot of the legwork has to be done by Saber to get this game ready, but Embrace Group still has to say, all right, you guys have it ready. Let's go ahead and do it. And I feel though, Inferno Fox, you are correct that if Saber gets this into a ready to launch, close to launch state, I don't see why Embracer won't just say, screw it, we'll throw a couple $1,000 to get it out there.
And if Embracer is literally a shell or 1/3 of what they were with that split off I mentioned, then they're not even going to be worried about it really at all. I mean, you got to think. Rad, what are your thoughts both about KOTOR and the KOTOR remake? Question mark.
So, I'm making a lot of hate for this. I didn't enjoy them. Didn't play a whole lot of them. At the time, it wasn't my type of game. Now I'm a different gamer now, so I've been told I should go back and try them again, which they're on my list to do. As far as the remake goes, everything I've seen, like Simbu said, it's development hell. Now does that mean it's impossible to happen? No, like you also mentioned, Dead Island 2, perfect example. We were never gonna get that game, and then we finally got that game. So it very well could happen. I mean, the fans want it. There's no denying that. Like, you can see the fans, anytime an announcement is posted about it, they just pour in. It's a loved franchise, and I hope to see it actually come out, and maybe that'll push me to actually go back and try the originals, give them a little bit more attention. But yeah, I mean, I hope it does actually come out, for the fans, for Simbu.
Yeah, and you can play the original, which was ported onto the Nintendo Switch right now. It is available in the Nintendo eShop. I don't know if
Okay.
it's on the PlayStation Store.
I don't think so, but I think it's playable on the Xbox One via backwards compatibility.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if
That-
I remember correctly, KOTOR came out only for the Xbox.
Yeah.
But it
Don't
just
remember
got
it on
ported for
PlayStation.
the Switch within like a couple months.
Right, but I don't recall it being ever ported for PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it ever was.
I think it was an Xbox exclusive, and
Yeah.
then
the best way I would say would probably be Xbox One or Series X and backwards compatibility, because Microsoft does a really great job of backwards, like upscaling their backwards compatible games. It's definitely a great way to play that. And speaking of which, our resident Xbox One owner, Jason the 13th, have you played KOTOR at all?
I don't know how much the Xbox One owner you could claim me as, since I only have like 2 games for it. But I did play a little bit. I did play a little bit of KOTOR though when it was around. But because I do remember going through it where you were trying to like make your own lightsabers and stuff like that. So I did play it, and it was fun.
Nice. And I know you like the JRPGs as well as the
Mm-hmm.
Western RPGs. So, because you and I dig both like the Final Fantasy games, and you like the Disgaeas, and we both liked Skyrim and that kind of stuff. So, so what? Oh no, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that I'm pretty sure that back when I played it, I was probably playing it at Simbu's place. So
That makes sense.
very possible.
Any Lego fans?
Oh, let's go. Why did nobody else get excited? What was that?
Absolutely not. Lego is horrifying.
Man, I'm leaving.
What are
Oh, you can't see
Legos?
it because of my background. Darn it.
I only own one Lego game, and it is not Star Wars. It is literally Jurassic Park. But I have played a little bit of the Star Wars one and seen it played. So
I owe 0.
Because there have been a lot of the Lego Star Wars games, but from everything I've heard, by far the Skywalker saga that came out in 2022, developed by Traveler's Tales, published by WB Games, is the best one. That is just generally what I've heard is the best Lego Star Wars games. I'm getting a look of shock from our buddy Rad. He's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What?
How? What? No. No. Great game.
So
Don't get
you're
me
kinda
wrong, but
shaking
not the
his head
best
and
one.
looking down.
Not the best one. Not the best one.
Oh, what would you say is the best Star Wars Lego game?
So personally, I would say the first one. Phenomenal game. Now the Skywalker saga kind of, I look at that more like a remake, and it just kind of puts them all in to like. So I mean, I guess if you like the more modern, it improved a lot. I won't deny that. But the first one, it has the Lego charm. They didn't talk. They just did the little grunts, and they'd explode into pieces. And it was a Lego game. I feel like the Skywalker saga tried to be like something so much more than it was. And yeah, it's good. Again, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but just that first one, just you felt like you were playing with Legos in a video game. Like the first one was just beautiful. It was just an amazing game.
Did it take you out of the Lego aspect and made it seem like it was just a Star Wars retelling but done in Lego pieces?
Are you talking about like the original one?
The newer one.
It was I mean, they're all video games, so I was about to say something dumb. It just didn't I didn't feel like I was playing with virtual Legos. I don't know, they're like there's talking, and like I don't want my Legos to talk to me. Make grunting noises and break into pieces, and it was too advanced for my brain, and I was like, man, I can't.
But ever since the Lego movie starring Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt, he is so cool. I think since then it's a thing where they got to vocalize all the Lego pieces. Maybe I don't know.
Now, Fox, you're my friend. I like you. Please don't ever say Chris Pratt and cool in the same sentence while mentioning the Lego movie. That was 3 strikes, my friend.
But you didn't like my Miyamoto-san reference to Chris Pratt being so cool, because in every single one of the references that Miyamoto-san has, he always has to mention how cool Chris Pratt is. You didn't like that?
So, well, hold on. I got to interject here on this one, okay? So, Fox, what you need to be saying is, Chris Pratt is awesome.
No.
Chris Pratt is cool when he's part of it.
Well, this has been fun, guys. I'll see you later.
Oh, great. Great, Simbu. You just totally scared off our poor guest. Dang it.
Hey, he knocked KOTOR. He had it coming.
Again, no disrespect to it. I'm not saying it's not a bad game. It just wasn't my cup of tea. That's all I'm saying.
All in fun. All in fun.
Until it's not.
Well, Fox over there being spiteful.
Oh, never. One of the things that I gotta say though is, so all that glitters is gold, but I need to give some attention to some Star Wars duds, some Star Wars games that not only rated poorly, played poorly, and reacted poorly. I can think of two games that are Star Wars duds, and that would be Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Duds of the highest.
I'm gonna be fighting everybody by the end of this podcast.
Oh boy.
Somebody's gonna be throwing hands.
I thought we were talking about the Kinect game for a second. I was like, yeah, the Kinect game was terrible. Then you bring out the bangers. I'm like, well, hold on, what? I'm confused.
You know what? He hasn't talked about the Wii one, the one from the Wii era.
Do you have the Wii one, Simbu?
I do not have it with me.
Dang. I don't have. What were your thoughts about the Wii one?
It was an interesting concept playing as Star Killer.
That's right, yeah.
Just for the fact of you're Vader's secret apprentice.
I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, we had a long conversation about Star Killer.
It was an extremely interesting game because you knew that you were supposed to die from the get-go of the game. You knew you were going to die. But it was very cool to experience something a bit different than, oh, you're just some, like in KOTOR. No, again, I love KOTOR, don't get me wrong, but oh, you're just some random Jedi. You're some random character. You're some random, basically an NPC in the universe. So to be attached to a character like that, like Darth Vader, it would be like playing a Clone Wars game and being Ahsoka playing alongside Anakin.
Interesting.
Something that was not done. It was kind of fun though in the Wii version because you had the motion controls with the Wii sticks, so it was a little with the nunchuck. It was a bit easier than I'm pretty sure I never played the Kinect Star Wars one. I always kind of wanted to, but never got around to playing it. Don't. That bad?
Don't.
Red, what are your thoughts on the Star Wars Wii version, if you've played it, and the Kinect version?
So I didn't play The Force Unleashed on the Wii, but I did play it on the PS3, and that is hands down one of the best Star Wars games ever made. That was beautiful. Just playing a Star Killer and demolishing everybody. And then the DLC where you got to take on Chewbacca and Han Solo and things like that was cool. Just killing off Star Wars characters, awesome. As for the
Deadpool
Kinect
kills
one,
Marvel. I mean,
yeah, I see it. It happens. As for the Kinect one, I would rather cut my eyeballs out than play that game ever again in my entire life. That game was terrible. I don't know why they did that, and they made special songs for it, and it was I don't know who that was marketed to, but it failed in every way. It was awful. The Terror Wolf.
Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, which I think was the Wii one you were talking about,
Yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Especially that looks like that was ported to the Nintendo Switch by Asper. So
Yes.
if you want to play it, it is available on the Switch. I think PC Steam, but don't quote me on that. But definitely
I believe,
worth.
it's not part of that Star Wars Anniversary collection,
No.
is it?
It's not. It's its own thing.
It's by itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That collection with 7 games is pretty nice.
And kind of callback, we didn't bring this up earlier, but Simbu brought up Dark Forces. That also got ported and like enhanced recently. I know for sure on the PlayStation. I don't know about the Switch and the Xbox, but it got the people that do Turok, the remakes of those or the ports.
Night
of those,
Dive, right?
Yeah, I believe that's correct. They ported that over, so that's another one that you could play now if you wanted to.
Yeah, and this is really nice for our listeners / viewers if they want to play these games, and or Simbu, if you ever win another contest or something like that, and you want one of these, a digital code, then we can hook you up with that. Although I would suspect that you would ask for a $70 PS5 game.
Depends on what's coming out.
That's true. That's true. But I'm going to ask Simbu here to gush about Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor in a second. One of these games are excellent. It featured like the 3D action one would see in a Souls alike, but really without the, and Rad, don't hit me, don't be mad. I'm gonna say they're Souls like it, but without the difficulty or complexity.
It's true.
I think the term Souls light being thrown around for these entries would be apt and would fit here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna open up and have Simbu gush about Fallen Order and Survivor.
What games are those?
I was ready for you to go, meh.
Roll credits.
I can't say, honestly enough, because while KOTOR and like when you played the Lego Star Wars games, not on the DS, let me say that. Let me say, if you played the any Lego games on the DS, you have not played any of the Lego games.
Yep.
I can guarantee you Rad is over there shaking his head like he's at a metal concert right now. Because in the Lego games for the consoles, you had these massive like hubs where there was stuff to do. There was little Easter eggs to find. There was, little collectibles and things like that, which really brought you when like when you played A New Hope and you're starting off in the beginning of A New Hope, you were in the Mos Eisley Cantina hub. So you were in Mos Eisley, you were in, on in Mos Espa for the prequel Phantom Menace, so they had these massive like hub worlds, which in Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor just get blown up. It is sandbox, don't get me wrong, it is sandbox. It's not true open world like Skyrim, so there's not like a bazillion points of interest on each map, which is fantastic.
It's not overwhelming.
Right. It's not overwhelming. And I love that because, there's still so much stuff to find because you go to some of these planets and, for example, on one of the early desert planets in Survivor, you come to a Jedi barrier, a green shield. You can't get through there, and the stormtroopers behind it are just taunting the ever living heck out of you. They're just talking. They're just running mouths like they're toadies. So what you have to do in order to do that, you have to unlock one of the force powers, which is the Jedi mind trick. You get the one to think like, oh yeah, you want to lower the shield, you want to push that button, and one of the stormtroopers like, I want to push that button. Yes, you are one of us. And the other one's like, wait, what are you talking about? That's not one of us. And so he pushes it, and then you go in and you slaughter the stormtroopers, and you can progress into the new area. You know, all in all, you know, the maps are very well done 3-dimensionally. You know, you've got the basement layer, you've got the first floor, you got the second floor. Sometimes you have a third floor, sometimes you have a sub basement. And a lot of the areas on the lower and higher aspects of this are unlocked through platforming, wall runnings, finding the right combination of zip lines to use, zip lining into a wall run, and then having to force jump and dash across, you know, an open gap to get to this tiny little door, but unlocks a cool secret or a little cool Easter egg to it. So in the small sandbox, quote, so to speak, play area that they have you in for each planet, which, you know, in Outcast there's a few, but there's more in, you know, there's a bit more in Survivor than there is in Outcast, or Fallen Order, sorry. I always want to call Fallen Order Outcast. I don't know why, because, well, Cal Kestis is an outcast, so it kind of makes sense. But, you know, again, it uses a smaller area that respects your time, because if you want to just mainline that planet, you can. It's real easy to just mainline it. You don't really ever get too lost. A lot of the getting lost, Brad will probably agree, is when you're platforming around trying to figure out where to go. Trying to find, you know, the legendary creature on the planet to go kill to get the special power upgrade or little upgrade thing from it. But it respects your time in the sense that it's not such a massive open, you know, Skyrim world. It's more like a, you know, but it's not so small and one-dimensional like a Borderlands sandbox.
Good point.
Because I mean, if I remember correctly, Borderlands will have that kind of a little bit of a basement, but it's mostly a one level and maybe a couple little second floor spots in some areas. So again, highly explorable, highly repeatable. I've gone back to the game and gone, I never found this before. Because cool. I missed the jump and I landed on a different thing, and I'm like, oh, what's this?
So Rad, does your experience sort of mirror what Simbu had with both of those games, or have you had a little bit of different? Like, what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, it's pretty much the same. I went into it thinking it was a Souls-like. You know, I enjoy those, like you mentioned. It is one of the ones where you kind of just choose the difficulty, so it can be hard, it can not be hard. Even on the lower difficulties, it can get, you know, intense. But no, I enjoyed them. I think it was smart to do it that way versus giving us a Souls-like, because then a lot of people would not have played it. So for Star Wars, it was smart to be like, okay, hey, here you go. But no, great game and not every game needs an open world. You don't need these big open world, you know, and that's why these were perfect, because it gives you just enough to give you your, oh wow, this is Star Wars, and then you move on. You know what I mean? It's perfect, not just, oh yeah, this is Star Wars, and then goes on for, you know, way too long. Yeah. So no, I think they were great games, and I think there's a third one being made, or I believe that got mentioned the other day.
Yeah, there's a third one on the horizon. Rad, you captured it, that with that Souls-like moniker, because when I heard Souls-like for Fallen Order, my first thought was, I think I might have to sit out this game.
Yep.
And what's But again, you know, you can't say enough at how well they did the quote unquote Souls-likeness to it, because pretty much the predominancy of the Souls genre that makes it into Fallen Order and Survivor is, if you see a flash, you know your enemy's going to do this, but it's not so brutal as you see a flash, boom, you're dead.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's the dodge, but if you don't dodge, you're not going to get demolished straight off the bat. You're going to take a hit, and you're going to be okay. You know, I think that's they took the combat from Souls-like and kind of just bumped things down a little bit, and that because that's one of the best things about Souls-like in my opinion is the combat. The difficulty is just intense, so I think they did it perfect with these games, and I see exactly what they were trying to do.
Nice. It definitely sounds like it's a good mix of having like that fun and rewarding challenge for like just being able to capture the essence of Star Wars, especially the second one, the second one with having really strong lightsaber battle. Like if I'm remembering right, and Simbu, I know you'll correct me, the first the first entry had the sort of Star Wars the lightsaber play that, yeah, it was good and everything like that, but it didn't really feel like a lightsaber. Whereas the second one, when you're fighting with it, you could cauterize and sever limbs, and it feels like the real thing, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I will give it that. The first one did not have all the fancy bells and whistles as the second, as Survivor did. But again, that's what a game should do. If you're going to sequel a game, there should be more to it.
Yes.
In the sequel than there was in the first, because now you're giving your fan base a new thing to do.
Yep.
The other thing that I enjoyed a lot, and again, you are correct, because when you swung the lightsaber around, but unless you were in like a cut scene, like there was like the quick time events, in the game, you really just kind of were, in your backyard with a stick or a Christmas wrapping tube and swinging it at each other. But yeah, going into Survivor, and I do like what they did with Survivor. The other mechanic that they did, which they did in the original Spider-Man for the PS1, or not for the PS1, for the PS4, sorry, the Insomniac one, is you're Cal Kestis. You're already him. You played through one game already. You have some abilities already to start, like they did in the first Spider-Man.
So
Insomniac Spider-Man.
It's not the whole Metroid trope where you start a whole new game and all of the abilities that you got are just gone, or there's some sort of stupid event that happens where like your character gets knocked into a wall and they lost all of their technological abilities. You got to start from that's nice. I like when games recognize the fact that you are actually like experienced and you some abilities.
Right. And now to credit for Survivor, you don't have every force ability at the start of the game that you had from the first game. It doesn't all carry over.
But you got some. I mean,
you've got a decent amount of the core force abilities that you learned from the first one, which is great because, again, I will reference Insomniac Spider-Man. You've been Spider-Man for 8 years already when the game starts.
Yep.
You're not, oh, I got bit by a spider again, and I have to go through this whole origin story where I learned to walk. We already kind of did that in Fallen Order. We learned to walk as Cal Kestis in Fallen Order at the beginning, and by the end, we were ready to fight. It's been out for quite some time, so warning, spoiler alert. I see you constructed your own lightsaber. We were ready. We were
Arnold
ready.
Schwarzenegger's in this,
but we weren't.
I see you constructed your lightsaber. We must get to the chopper.
The force is strong with you, yeah.
Could you imagine if somebody modded him for that?
Why haven't they yet?
Voice?
That's my thing. Why haven't they? Or maybe they have.
But going into the end game of Fallen Order, you were Cal Kestis. You were as they call, a gray, because you're not a Jedi. You're not a Jedi. You're not a Sith. You're called a gray. A gray is, a Force user who basically, for those who are, for comparison purposes, you have become Ahsoka after the Clone Wars. When Ahsoka walks away from Anakin in the Clone Wars, she becomes a gray. She's still a Force user. She's still saber trained and everything. But I mean, to make it even a bigger example, you're a Ronin, a samurai without a master.
Hey, there you go. That was good. That was good. I like that.
Hey, sometimes I have good rabbit holes. What can I say?
That was good.
But
We'll give you this one.
I want to pose a question to Jason 13th because A, he's been too quiet, and two, we got to harass him. Are you going to play Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor?
I actually did start Fallen Order at one point in time, and I don't remember exactly how far I got into it, but then I got sidetracked and it fell to the wayward side, and I should go back to that one. I really should.
Dude, I don't want to see your mid-log. Your mid-log has got to be so
Oh my God.
large.
Yep. Oh, I agree.
No, it's cool that you at least tried it, and you liked it for the most part too, right?
Oh yeah. No, the bit that I have played, I did enjoy it actually. So
nice. I want to round out our discussion with two last topics. I want to have a discussion about the forthcoming game from Ubisoft, Star Wars Outlaws, and supposedly in the canon, it's set between episodes 5 and 6, and it stars supposedly no one related to any of the movies, nor anyone who aspires to be anything or related to anything Jedi-wise. Stars a pair of outlaws named Kay Vess and Nyx on their way to complete like a large heist or something. From a recent trailer and info drop, it has drawn some controversy and includes some I'm just gonna be real with y'all. It includes some stupid stuff like how the female character Kay Vess looks, and then you add to the fact the other part of the controversy that I think we should focus on is the corporate greed aspect, like locking a specific mission called Jabba's Gambit behind the game's season pass. Season pass is $110 for the gold edition, $138 for the ultimate. If you do not buy those, you do not get this mission. Ubisoft confirmed this. Radbash, are you interested in playing Star Wars Outlaws? Controversy hinder you at all?
So I didn't think it looked good before all the controversy. It just didn't look anything appealing. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, like I see a lot of the, oh, she looks ugly. I don't care about that. I play as girls in games all the time. I think that's a stupid argument. So I'm not even gonna like, that's just, but my biggest complaint as a physical collector, love me physical, there's no game on the disc. There's
it's the like, Survivor conundrum.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, here's the game. You don't actually get it. Oh, and on top of that, you want the missions you need. Yeah, well, you're gonna have to pay more for that. So it's like, what is this? Like, where's game? There's no game. This is like, yeah, the controversy was just the final. Like, I was maybe gonna consider it before that, and then everything that came out after, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm good. Like, yeah, like I'll pass. You guys enjoy that one.
kind of the nail in the coffin for on that.
I don't know what they're doing with it. I mean, the idea behind it, I will say this, is a phenomenal idea. I've always thought what they're trying to do is great. I just don't know why they did it the way they did. I don't know why I don't know why they're doing anything they're doing. And people could be like, oh, rad futures now, old man, digital future. You know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, okay,
boomer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah, they're like, hey, man, and that's fair. I if I buy something, I want to know that I own that something forever. Yes. I don't want to think it's going to be taken away. I don't want to have Wi-Fi to download it. I don't want to nothing like that. And it just, they're like, yeah, no, it's okay. Here, have demo for a game that you can play for a little while and we'll take away.
Because Ubisoft's The Crew is proof positive that they can take it away from you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of that going on now where everything's just being, taken away. And if I have to have an internet connection for a game, like, what's the point of that? It's like, granted, I have Wi-Fi, but not everybody does. So some people won't be able to experience that game. And then on top of that, you got to pay extra to, have the full game. And that's okay. I'll pass.
The
Bogus.
corporate greed kills the game. Although, like you said, I love the concept because hell, Rogue One is up there in my top like
Oh,
3
good.
favorite Star Wars movies. So
So good. So good.
didn't need to have anything extra or any more. That movie just kills on its own.
It was perfect. That was
Mhm.
I you sir. Yeah. Oh, yep. I never hear anybody give Rogue One enough love.
Oh,
So
I love that one.
best friends right now. Best friends.
We are going to have a general Star Wars movie discussion. We're going to have that. That's how we're going to end things because
All right.
I want to. I definitely want to get into this. I see Simbu stewing in his juices, so I gotta ask Simbu, what is your thought with Star Wars Outlaws?
So, like Rad is saying, I don't give a rat's tail what the main character looks like, male, female. You can make it a two-legged walking rat. Okay,
Tales of
it's
Iron.
Star
That's
Wars.
actually a really good game.
That
Tales
is
of
a
Iron
good
is a
game.
good game. But for all I care, my kind of issue with the main character though is if you're going to make a game that is a single player experience and you want to do some random just smuggler or scoundrel in the Star Wars universe, why not just make it a customizable character?
Yes.
Where you just create yourself and then you go through the game, and they have a male voice set of voice lines and they have a female voice set of voice lines, maybe a couple set of male and a couple set of female voice lines, but it puts you into that role. It puts you more into that character.
And we know the reason why they don't want that. They create a character, they have a property that they can sell and iterate
Yep.
on in future media,
Yeah,
like
good luck with that.
Outlaws 2, a TV show, a movie. But the problem is they're getting too far ahead of themselves. Simbu, I totally agree with you. If it was something to where you could create your own avatar and assign a voice or something, it's like where has that been done so well, so successfully? Is it a certain space trilogy that was it something effect mass something? It's only one of the 3 of the best space related games ever made.
Andromeda? What?
Super Mario.
Super Mario. That's right. Where Mario flies
Uh,
in the Star Cruiser.
E.T.
Oh,
yeah, E.T.
That's it. That's it.
best game. Best game.
But yeah,
But
I totally agree with you.
But I am going to say this. I already have the $100 edition pre-order. I'm not going for the 130 or whatever it is. I don't care about those stupid extra cosmetics that they're tacking on. Like the 2 outfits, one is Han Solo inspired. Okay, so what? I don't care. That's not. If you're going to play as Han Solo and you want to give me A New Hope attire, then yes, I will spend the $130 on the collector's edition to have that attire for him. But I'm not playing as Han Solo. I'm playing as somebody completely different. I don't need Kay Vest to look like a female Han Solo. I don't need that. That's not why, that's not the character I'm going to play in the game. And then the digital art book and the digital soundtrack, you can shove those all day, every day. I don't care. And I highly doubt many people really care about the digital soundtrack or the digital art book as, somebody who with a big YouTube channel is going to buy it, and then they're going to post it all online, and within like a week, all those photos and stuff are going to be Google searchable. So who cares? Now, I will say the one thing where they really screwed the pooch on this with the Jabba's Gambit is you announced it before the game released. If it is a season pass thing, you say there are 4 season pass mission aftermarket, quests or missions or side stories that are coming out after the launch of the game, like Dead Island did. Dead Island 2 did.
Yep.
That you are getting DLC, but we're not going to tell you what it is before the launch of the game.
Yep.
And even after the launch of Dead Island 2, we still waited about 3 months before they announced House, which House was terrible. But then we waited another couple months after that before they announced Sola, So LA, which is the second DLC to the 3. But the fact of the matter is that you are going to come up front, and it's not like what Hogwarts Legacy did. And I know, everyone's going to jump me for this one. But Hogwarts Legacy has that haunted shop mission. It was exclusive to the PlayStation Edition only. That is fine. That is fine to announce before the game launches. Why? Because it's in there from day one. And it's specific to a console. That would be like Xbox saying, hey, if you buy Star Wars Outlaw on Xbox, you're going to get, these premium, Starship, Starship pieces. That's fine. But if you're going to announce that before your game even comes out, that your first season pass DLC is blocked at start of game, I'm sorry, you just kicked the hornet's nest, and I'm trying to be as PG here as possible with my words, because I can feel the temperature rising.
I will, off topic, as we mentioned it, Tales of Iron, they just announced they're going to release the sequel. They announced that yesterday. So that's coming. And I agree with you, Simbu, like console exclusive content, it has its place. Like I can think of the first thing, because I'm an okay boomer old man video gamer, it's Soul Calibur 2 with the console exclusive characters.
Yep.
Or even like Mortal Kombat 9 for the PS3, where you could have Kratos in there.
Yep.
So that makes sense, but like locking it behind a literal paywall, like that's some horse armor stuff. Right there. That's
the horse armor.
So I'm gonna end our discussion. We're just gonna have a general, and I'm gonna ask your favorite Star Wars movie, and let's start with Jason the 13th. Jason the 13th, what is your favorite Star Wars movie, and why is it The Ewok Adventure?
It is not The Ewok Adventure.
Are you sure? Because a couple of times that I saw you watching Star Wars, you were watching it with your buddy Kevin, and it was the Ewok Adventure. So you sure it's not
that is no. That's because you came over because we were watching it because he's never seen it before. Those movies are not that great.
They're awful.
No, my favorite is
the Christmas
Empire.
special.
What is happening? It's getting worse as it goes.
Yep, I'd rather watch the Ewok Adventure.
Episode 8, what?
No, actually, Empire Strikes Back is my number one.
Choice.
Nice.
Solid choice.
That's episode 5, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Out of the trilogy, I dislike that the most.
Really?
One word, and that's Yoda. I do not like Yoda. Didn't like Yoda in episode 5. It was like watching Kermit the Frog. I'd only seen Star Wars when episode 7 came out to the theaters. Like I had seen 1 through 6 in that order, and then I saw episode 7 in the theaters, and I'm like, okay, so this is kind of where the whole like thing with now episode 6, Yoda was awesome. Episode 2, when he was fighting, Yoda was awesome. That was great. Not a Yoda fan otherwise, especially in 5, and that was.
But in 5, he's on his deathbed.
I thought 6 he was in his deathbed.
No, 6 he's on his
6
deathbed.
is 6 is where he dies, right? Yes.
5 he's just like on crack or something. Like he's like all weird. Yeah, I don't care for Muppet Yoda. Yeah.
That's why I like episode 6. He's on his deathbed. You got it.
They're killing him. I'm in. Get rid of him. Let's go.
Fox is here for the killing of characters. I bet he loves Game of Thrones.
Yoda fans are gonna be upset with you.
Every single one of us.
But so what makes it my favorite though is the battle on Hoth and the ice war with the walkers and everything. That is what makes it my favorite. No,
you liked him cutting the Tanta open.
And crawling inside.
Yep, crawling inside and staying warm. Yep.
Made me hungry.
Hey, they got a Yeti in the movie too. I mean,
Storm, how about you? What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Return of the Jedi,
Nice.
episode
Episode
6.
6.
Yep.
Yep, and you want to know why? The Ewoks are in it.
Yeah, with the Ewoks.
I love the
But they did the Ewoks good in that movie compared
Yes,
to
they
the
did.
Ewok Adventures.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Yes,
big difference.
yes.
Big
Yep.
difference.
Yes. And yeah, I had a habit of naming my guitars, and my first acoustic was named Wicket after
Hmm.
That's
Wicket the
awesome.
Ewok. So
Yep.
That's
so
cool.
yep, I do. That is my favorite. And of the newer ones, hang on. I need to look which one that was. It was
The Last Comedian, right? Because everyone loves The Last Comedian.
No.
I mean, Last Jedi. Sorry.
Because I had like tied for 2. Jedi and The Force Awakens are tied for my 2 favorites. So there you go.
Nice. Jamie Owls, how about you? What is it? Your favorite Star Wars movie?
I'm gonna go with what Stormrose said, which is Return of the Jedi, and my reason too is the Ewoks.
See, the Ewoks.
Because they're cute little teddy bear looking
Yes.
guys. They're cute.
Exactly. They are so cute. I want one.
Oh, just remember
I
that
did too.
scene where the Ewok dies and the other ones are crying over him. Oh,
Yeah.
heart broke, right?
Yes.
What's
Right.
it's like a
Should we
classic
even get
80s
into
movie
the-
where like a certain little animal dies and it traumatizes us poor
Yep.
older millennials.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Should we get into the new trilogy with Chewie and the Porgs?
Oh.
Oh yeah. And then like they're all looking at him. They're cute too.
They are.
I also have to say I like the Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. I thought that one was good too.
Simbu, your favorite Star Wars movie and why is it The Phantom Menace? How much do you love Jar Jar Binks?
Well, if it was Phantom Menace, it's definitely not Jar Jar. If it was Phantom Menace, it would be for Darth Maul.
Mhm.
I just gave Rad an aneurysm or something with that.
Yeah, they gave us a Darth Maul in the very first one, made him badass, and then they gave us Count Dooku for the
Yeah,
others. Like,
well,
really?
Now
That,
we get
that is
Sauron for 2
because,
movies.
but that is because Ray Park screwed up in an interview.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Wait, what?
Darth Maul was supposed to come back in Attack of the Clones because when the doors open and they go, it was supposed to be the rebuilt Maul there from the Clone Wars.
Really?
But Park in an interview, they said, "So how does it feel to not be in like Star Wars, have this iconic character and not be there anymore?" And Park's answer was so obviously that he's not done that Lucas said, "All right, dude, you ruined it."
Why'd they punish me? I didn't do the interview.
Because it was supposed to be the big like twist thing, because remember Attack of the Clones? It was supposed to be like he's a clone, but as we all see in the Clone Wars show, he doesn't actually die. He gets saved and turned into the little spider bot, and then he gets the chicken legs and comes back and just has this amazing throne room fight with Ahsoka on Mandalore. But favorite Star Wars movie? Good God. I mean, I can't pin down the original trilogy enough. Just everything they were able to do with practical effects, miniature scales and whatnot, watching all the behind scenes footage of that and seeing some of that in some of the newer ones was cool to see. However, it was more CGI than anything, which is, saddens me. But, all these practical effects and like, the trench run, that thing is as long as like, I think it's like a medium sized grocery store parking lot. That's how long the trench run actually is. The thing is huge. Like it goes from the back of the LucasArts shop, from lights and illumination, to the road. That's how long this model is for the Death Star. It is insane. But again, you may not like Yoda. I love the fact that it was a raised stage with a puppeteer. So it's it's Jim Henson Muppet style, which is awesome. Instead of like somebody walking around with a little ball, on a stick going, here, Mark, look here. Mark, look here. Mark, look here. Mark, look here.
Over here. Mark, can we get you over here?
Mark, and then the eyes I don't care how good they are. The eyes never line up in any movie with a CGI character and a real actor. I don't care. They do not line up perfect. They do not line up like they would if it was a live actor.
It's a fair point.
And again, with spatial reasoning too, when they're trying to interact with these characters, sometimes it gets wonky when you're looking at a CGI built character, and it's like, well, that's why Chewie's got a lot of fur, because they can hide that. But all time, hands down, I've got to go with the Clone Wars TV show. I know that's not a movie, but
nope. You got to pick a movie.
Hold on, I will counter that with the Star Wars animated Clone Wars movie that kicked off the TV show.
Oh, he has a point on that one.
Episode 1 through 9. Which is your favorite movie?
Oh, taken away just like that.
That's episode 1.5.
1.5.
Episode 1 through 9. Which one is your favorite?
You're gonna upset the teachers. Stop.
Oh, I love upsetting teachers. Put me in detention. It's all right. I'll die on my lightsaber.
Yeah, I guess Simbu doesn't have a favorite Star Wars movie. Episode 1 through 9. I'm a little disappointed
because that takes out Rogue One. So,
would Rogue One really be your favorite though?
No.
It's
high on the list, but not my favorite. It's a great movie, yes. We're gonna go Empire.
Empire Strikes Back. So we got
Empire.
two. We got 2 for Empire. We've got 2 for Jedi. Episode 6 Jedi. Rad Bash. Are we breaking ties? What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Phantom Menace, hands down. Phantom
Menace.
Love Jar Jar. Love Darth Maul. Darth Maul. I have a shrine dedicated to Darth Maul. That man is my hero. I love Darth Maul. They took him from me too soon. But even Jar Jar, I don't mind Jar Jar. I think Jar Jar is funny. Dude's goofy. I love it. Just great. The Star Wars, the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. I'm drawing a blank. Qui-Gon, thank you. Drawing a blank. And Darth Maul is one of the best. Even the music, the Duel of the Fates or whatever. That's my ringtone.
There's a Duel of Fates rabbit hole we could go down here, but I don't think we have time.
Great movie. I think that fight right there is like the best. That's one of the best lightsaber battles in all 9 of the mainline episodes. I like that. I will
want to say this real quick. I will give that fight its credit because Liam Neeson, Ray Park, and Ewan McGregor did not have stunt doubles for that fight.
Nice.
In fact, I didn't know that.
Like you can watch when you watch the behind scenes, and when Ray gives Obi-Wan the boot off the thing, that is Obi-Wan falling off that platform onto the stunt bag.
Oh, that
awesome. Is Ewan McGregor.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. Nice. Yeah, with that fight, it shows really. You have Obi-Wan the apprentice, you have Qui-Gon the master. You see the differences. Obi-Wan he's not patient. He's let's get him, let's go. And Qui-Gon's like, he's meditating. He knows what he's doing. Like you see the difference in the master and in the Padawan roles. you know, and I thought that was amazing. And Ray Park is just up doing flips and doing yeah.
It's almost a foreshadowing for the later parts in the trilogy where Obi-Wan has learned to be patient, and it's with that he's able to best his impatient
Yes.
former apprentice.
Yes, exactly.
The way, and it's the reason Obi-Wan defeats Darth Maul in the Resistance cartoon, where they had the final fight, because he sets up for the stance that Qui-Gon used. Darth Maul goes for the hit, and Obi-Wan counters with a completely different discipline, which gives Obi-Wan the ability.
That is a good scene all in itself. That scene, the fight in that cartoon, I don't care what anybody says. You feel things.
No,
you truly feel things.
I'm telling you, when frickin' Vegeta gets his tail cut off and Goku is laid out, you poor little 5-year-old Gohan has to fight against Vegeta all on his own. Sorry, was it cartoon?
That's
cartoon
a different episode, okay?
Cartoon
That's a
fights?
different episode. We'll talk Dragon Ball a different time, okay? We're talking Star Wars now.
Oh man, it definitely a really good discussion about not just game. We had to get some Star Wars. I haven't given my vote. My favorite Star Wars movie. It's tough because like Natalie Portman. So 1, 2, and 3. And then 4, 5,
Carrie
and
Fisher.
6. 4, 5, and 6 with how classic it is. Let me hum and haw and milk this for all that I can here. 7 was good. I call me crazy. I liked 7, and I liked the promise that 7 made that 8 and 9 I don't feel like delivered or didn't deliver well. I'm gonna probably 4. Honestly, episode 4 with like Simbu, like how you said, what they did in 1977 to make this space opera movie, and the fact that it even got made, the behind the scenes stuff makes it amazing. And like, aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper, like that kind of stuff? And the whole Biggs and Wedge, and my favorite video game of all time being Final Fantasy VI, and so many references pulling from episode 4. I mean, it's yeah. I think I'm gonna say 4 is my favorite. But so let us know in the comment section below, if you are watching us on YouTube, your favorite Star Wars game, your favorite Star Wars movie, your favorite Star Wars cartoon. If you're into that, no judgment. Keep it PG, keep it G, you know, and we don't want to go into Skinamax here. Let us know your favorites in the comment section below. A huge thanks to our fantastic cast and crew here, especially our special guest, Rad Bash Gaming. Again, you can catch him at YouTube's Rad Bash Gaming, as well as his crew, the Super Retro Force, a bunch of excellent YouTube content creators. Links in the description below. Simbu, as well as the rest of the crew. Thank you, Simbu. You can catch at the Scurry Face SCWC. Did I get that right? SFWF. SCWC. I don't know what SCWC is.
Jesus Lord.
That is SFWF, Scurry Face Wrestling Federation Show on Twitch, Sunday nights and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central. Jason the 13th at the YouTube channel Jason the 13th for Zelda and Pokemon content. Stormrosesky, Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky for excellent warm blanket content, your favorite 80s and 90s TV shows, movies discussion, and you can catch Jamie Owls and myself here on Inferno Fox Gaming. Thank you so much for joining. Any Rad Bash, actually, before I let everybody go, you got anything that you want to pimp out, let us know about? What you got coming in the pipeline?
Apparently I'm pimping things out now. That caught me
Somebody
off.
get him the baby powder.
Yeah, that caught me off.
Yumpy.
I do have a special series coming on, which I haven't talked to you yet about, Fox, but I wanted to get you on. where I sit down and interview my creator friends and give them a chance to let you get to know them. And I'm trying to build a nicer YouTube, I guess. So I plan on doing that soon. But outside of that, that's all I got as far as check out Super Retro Force. We got content there all the time. Plug so nobody fires me. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Definitely looking forward to that. Would always enjoy collabing with you, my friend. We've done, I think we're in the double digits now. I think
Yeah, we've done a bunch.
so you, me, and Farrell, I think we're all in the double digits, which is great. Definitely have a great federation. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us and for our audience as well. Thanks again. Have a good day.